TopMedTalk.
All right. Hello and welcome to TopMedTalk. I'm Desiree Chappell, and we are at the IARS, the International Anesthesia Research Society, the AUA, Association of University of Anesthesiologists, and SOCCA, the Society of Critical Care Anesthesiologists, annual meeting in Denver, Colorado. Now, I'm joined by my co-host, Professor Mike Grocott. Mike, how are you?
I'm very good. Very good. Just enjoyed the Selden lecture. I guess we'll come back to that.
We're going to come back to that in just a minute. And Mike, we now have our, I was going to say third wheel. That actually is not the right thing.
We could do that. I could be a third wheel.
No.
That's not usually a good thing.
Oh,
but on this occasion, it's a very good thing.
It depends on what you're driving.
I know. If we're on a tricycle, we'd have to have one.
Or only fools and horses. Anyway, Desiree, it's great to be here. Monty Mythen, great to be here.
Monty Mythen. Monty, you flew in late last night, and so we're all catching up this morning. How are you?
I'm good. Denver, Colorado is a beautiful place.
It is gorgeous. I will say that they had great weather last week, the whole week before we got here. And then as soon as it was snowing yesterday.
So it's cloudy when I came in yesterday. I came in just with enough to be able to know I couldn't see anything. But I woke up this morning and there's mountains everywhere.
Beautiful. I know.
There's lots of, I've noticed it's not a surprise to many people.
Well, there's not mountains everywhere. There's
that's true.
Enormous flat area spreading for about 1,000 miles and mountains to the west.
Lots of beautiful mountains, which is great.
Yeah. So guys, would love to catch up this morning. I know I spouted out a lot of letters and words. The annual meeting that we're at, it's the International Anesthesia Research Society, Association of University Anesthesiologists, and Society of Critical Care Anesthesiologists. Now, they've bundled their annual meeting together for several days, and it's been great so far. It looks like the program's only getting better over the next couple of days. What do you think, Mike?
Really good. So the IARS bit just started this morning.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed several of the sessions at the AUA, and the meeting goes on through the weekend and into the beginning of next week. So I think it's a great gathering of academic enthusiasts in anesthesia.
Yeah. So Monty, anything that you've been interested in looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the first thing we should highlight is for those people who haven't been to this meeting in the past.
Yeah.
I've been coming a very long time. We can
go
into that
a couple
later.
of years.
I've been a member for a very long time.
Okay, yeah. Tell us
and
about
lucky enough
the
to be a member of the AUA as well. Well, it is what it says on the can, the IARS. It's the International Anesthesia Research Society. So it is very much research focused, but research in the very broadest sense. But one of the great things about it, I think, is it's principally mainly a single auditorium meeting with lots of posters and free papers. There are breakout sessions, but it's quite a relatively small, although it's thousands, gathering and an opportunity to interact with people in our space. So I think that's what makes it special.
Yeah, Mike and I were actually talking about that yesterday, how we have seen so many friends, that we have not seen since before COVID, and hearing some really cool cutting edge, research out there right now. It's been really interesting.
So, Mike, you were telling me last night when I got on that you went to an amazing session about, was it quantum physics? Or?
Yeah, it was an amazing session. I was amazed. I can't fully explain to you what it was about, So extraordinary discussion of the interaction of photons that are created together, that even when separated, and potentially separated by thousands of miles. So there was a description, for example, of an experiment where two photons were separated. One remained on Earth and one was taken up to a satellite.
Okay.
And they remain linked. So if you do something...
You spin one, the other one spins.
Exactly. So the energy, the spin,
so they don't forget each other.
That's what I feel like with TopMedTalk. We can be on different continents.
I think you're trivializing great science here, Monty.
I could feel yesterday when you were watching that lecture, the two of you.
Did you? Yeah. Did you feel that?
Yeah. So
I know.
Practical applications of that. Well, I mean, that sounds very futuristic, and we will learn how to make greater use of that knowledge. But...
So, to be fair, they were very cautious about the direct applications, but what they were able to demonstrate was that, somewhat surprisingly, so general anesthetic gases, believed to be very non-reactive, did have an impact on these photon interactions, and I guess it's just a glimmer of there may be a quantum element in the quantum mechanism within the mechanisms of anesthesia, which I think is really interesting. And I'm just glad that I'm old enough that I won't have to go through the exams when they have quantum mechanics in there, because I simply wouldn't have got through.
Because we still don't exactly know how they work. I haven't missed something there, have I?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Anesthetics.
Anesthetics, yeah.
No, I think the basis of certainly one of the takeaways from Irene Tracy's lecture is that the basis of perception, and anesthesia being in part loss of perception, is not understood. Why is it that when one bunch of neurons fire, we see something, and when another bunch of neurons fire, it's pain?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So that was this morning's lecture, the T.H. Sheldon Memorial Lecture.
So this is the big plenary, the flagship plenary. Yeah.
And who was the speaker for that?
So Irene Tracy. A legend, a giant of British anesthesia, who's gone on from a very distinguished career in anesthesia to become Vice Chancellor, which is our term for leader of Oxford University, the University of Oxford. So one of the biggest and most successful academic institutions in the world, and a superb role model, both in anesthesia, but also a role model for women and diverse groups in academia.
Yeah, fantastic. It sounds like it was a great lecture.
A superb lecture. Yeah.
And very image rich. I thought that. That piece towards the end about babies. Extraordinary. Expand on that a little bit, Mike.
So, well, I mean, the whole lecture was, or a large proportion of the lecture was about the application of imaging techniques to understanding the perceptual nature of pain. So injury, neuron fires, but the modulation of the perception of that through all sorts of states, including your expectation of what's happening, your mood, your understanding of pain, your understanding of analgesia, for example, and the fact that some of those, as I understood it, some of the structural basis of those functional differences is there even in babies in the first few days of life.
Because that's the image I was looking at, was the brain lighting up in the same way, whereas the hypothesis was that that's a learned thing over time in some way, some sort of thing that's trained. But that's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it appears to be a structural basis for inter-individual differences in pain perception.
Yeah. Well, this is a wonderful meeting so far. Looking forward to the next couple days. I think we still have some lectures that are the plenaries and some posters that are going to be going up. We actually have a session tomorrow talking about IOH, intraoperative hypotension, coming up. And I've
just seen the legendary Rick Dutton.
Oh, yeah, he passed out. We're going to be talking to him. Josh Lumley and Weil Sasu from North Star and USAP. So that's going to be great. We'll do that on TopMedTalk a little bit later. Gentlemen, anything else that we need to make sure we cover for the next couple of days?
I think it's going to be a big feature in the meeting, but a very practical thing is the ASA has just released its new fasting guidelines. The NPO before having a general anesthetic, which many parts of the world now, particularly in children, is going from, a position of there being nothing taken in orally before general anesthesia,
right,
to liberating that, to say clears are fine and breast milk is fine.
Yeah.
So no NPO at all.
Yeah.
And the new SA guidelines haven't quite gone there.
Yeah.
But they've gone very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've gone to 2 hours now. Is that right?
It was.
Clears?
Yeah.
So that's really worth people, if they haven't seen it yet, look it up. There are new guidelines out there from the American Society of Anesthesiology, who I think now are still some of the most cautious, guidelines, which I understand, but it's much more liberal than it used to be. It's certainly not NPO from midnight, and I think that's a very practical thing to consider.
Yeah,
where are you now, Mike? In where you work? Are you?
So we're pretty liberal in our NPO, but I was just reflecting if I think of the journey of anesthesia. So when I was growing up as a junior anaesthetist, we were very focused on the very rare but clearly catastrophic risk of inhalation of gastric contents around the induction of anesthesia. And now we're much more focused on, we've largely got the airway bit sorted out. That's a rare complication. The airway techniques are better, the drugs are better. And actually starving people and dehydrating them before surgery has all sorts of much more widespread implications that I think we're starting to take into account.
Absolutely. So we might come back to that if we get a chance.
Yeah.
So I've seen some of the key authors of those guidelines walking around here getting coffee at the moment. That's the buzz you can hear that's joined us, folks, is the coffee area is filling up.
Yeah, it is. And that's what we love about these meetings, right, guys? I feel like we're kind of back to our roots here on TopMedTalk. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I know we're going to be catching up through the rest of the day and tomorrow. Looking forward to our conversations and all the wonderful content here at the IARS, AUA, and SOCCA meeting. Be sure to listen to TopMedTalk. You can find us on your favorite social media platform and your favorite podcast platform. And we are on YouTube as well. So be sure to check that out. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you soon. Cheers.